Here. So, what the producer, Toshio Suzuki, thought, what he had in his mind? Well, the producer, Suzuki, thought that Porco takes the lunchbox his wife made and goes out to hunt the pirates every day. Then he has dinner at Gina's. And he enjoys a platonic romance with a girl like Fio. If you think that's a cool attitude of middle-aged office workers in Japan, why don't we make the ending relatable to this target audience? I mean, come on. You are the one who brings a lunchbox your wife made every day and flirt like crazy with Sankichi in your workplace. That's what he insinuated and made Miyazaki really upset. Miyazaki even refused to reply to him. This is why he didn't want to talk about it and why he wanted Oshii to shut up. Well, Hayao Miyazaki does not always have a clear view on how he wants to make his films. I mean, like when he was making Princess Mononoke. He said if he knew what he wanted to make and why, he'd just say it in words. Once he knows, there's no point in turning it into a film. He doesn't know, so he makes a movie and puts so much effort into it. And his idea is that if he can come to the level where he is making the film not for himself, but just for the movie, that's where he gets his movie. That's why he first made this scene. This one. Miyazaki first made this scene. The ending depicting Porco still wants to look cool to the ladies. The scene was shown in the JAL in-flight version, but was deleted to be not shown in theaters. He did not make a scene about Porco being with Gina, but made the scene one where Porco is still flying, so he can hold back this original idea. So as the ending of the movie, this version is perfect. Porco is still flying. This is what you see now on the DVD. You see it in the broadcasted version, and this version is the perfect ending. If he went with this one, this idea for the ending, you know the magazine Leon? It focuses on men looking cool in their 40s and older, like Panzetta Girolamo. And the movie would be like that. If they went with this ending, many women would have hated it. That's why I think they made a great decision to go with this version. So the answer to the question, what happened between Porco and Gina from the previous lecture? My answer is that Porco decided to be with Gina, but he still goes to his hideout. There is the latest model of Savoia. He keeps his old one docked at Gina's place and hides the latest model in his hideout. Every day he commutes to his hideout and flies in the sky and flirts with girls. That's their story. My answer to the question. Porco Rosso is a kind of person who has to be free. Or maybe there is a better expression. He has to fly, and he has to fly alone. That's the kind of person Miyazaki is. He has a private office called Nibariki, separate from Ghibli. He commutes there every day, although he doesn't have to. He just goes there, opens the curtain, and eats the lunch his wife made. And then he goes to Ghibli to work. So he is just this unchained guy. But I have to remind you that Isao Takahata enjoyed an even higher level of freedom. So I guess that's how we should see that old man. And that's what it is to see Porco Rosso again when you grow up. Appreciate the middle-aged men mentality. So that's one way of watching Porco Rosso, embracing the middle-aged men mentality. It's quite true to life for him to keep his old model docked at his old lady's place. He is maybe showing off a bit too much. It really surprised me. Hideaki Anno, after seeing Porco Rosso, said, "So Miyazaki finally decided to go the full Monty," and further went on saying, "I appreciate his courage despite the size of his equipment." That is one harsh comment made by Anno. Well, it's a fundamental question when making autobiographical novels, how much you are willing to expose. So that was my answer to what happened between the two. Let's move on. Why is Porco a pig? Answer to why is Porco a pig, and did he turn back into a human? Here we go. Here you see Porco before his first dogfight with Curtis, after he has kicked the Mama Yuto's ass in the beginning. The next day, he goes to the city and talks with the bank clerk. The clerk asks, "How about helping the people out with a Patriot bond?" And he replies, "Do I look like a person?" Hey, the voice was different, but I kind of got the intonation right. Not a bad impression. So he says, "Do I look like a person?" in this scene. This line represents him looking down on people. So Porco is not forced to live as a pig. He decided to be one. Pigs are so much better than humans. That's what Porco thinks. And so does Miyazaki. He thinks that pigs are way better than any people in Italy or around the Adriatic Sea in those days. Everyone was so much worse than pigs. So it's not that he cannot turn back to human, but he believes he hasn't descended low enough to be a human. This belief of Porco, I think we have to keep this in mind. In the Porco Rosso brochure, Miyazaki himself said, quote, "I imagine that the fascists back in the days have called communists Porco Rosso." I mean, the fascists in Italy back in the days, right before World War II. I think they called communists Porco Rosso a red pig. Socialism, as a huge social experiment, has failed miserably. At that time, Porco was claiming, "I'm flying. I don't care if I'm alone." So I came up with an idea that he likes, Le Temps des Cerises, Paris Commune's song, end of quote. This was his comment in the brochure. So the title Porco Rosso, it was Miyazaki's imagination that the communists in Italy back in the days were insulted as red pigs. That's how he came up with the title. So we can see Porco not as a victim of a spell turning a human into a pig, but instead we can see him as some sort of metaphor of the communists. If we see him that way, Gina's line, "I wish I could release you from that spell," and Theo's line, "Can I kiss Porco to turn him back into a human?" These lines, they can all be translated into, how can we make you give up some voodoo called communism and come to a wonderful world of capitalism, where we are all free and are given a right to prosper? People involved in the student activism in Japan back in the 60s heard exactly the same thing from their family and lovers. If you find true love, you will wake up from your communism nightmare. The same pattern. If you find the truth, you will wake up. This suggestion to Porco that looks down on him, he can't stand it. Why don't they just fuck off? Who told you that people are better than pigs in the first place? So this is an interpretation of Porco Rosso, the character actually being a metaphor of communists. When the film was released, it was quite a rumor that Porco Rosso is actually a communist thing. So this is again the first level interpretation. But if you see the film as an autobiographical novel by Hayao Miyazaki, I don't want people to stop at that level. I mean, I think there is so much more. So let's go a little deeper into this topic. To begin with, Porco is a pig. But in the entire film, Porco Rosso, only the women care about the fact that Porco is a pig. Did you realize this?